Trauma to testimony encompasses the proclamation of the truth and narratives of believers who have endured trauma and shook up their pain and purposely walk daily in their victories, giving God their yes. We are standing and affirming Revelation 12:11 on this podcast. Listen, the surrender, the resurrection, overcoming trauma, the becoming better, the inner work you have to do, all heavy. Join me each week as we dissect the walk of faith we take as Christian women who have endured some of life's pain and struggles. We will dive into having the hard conversations to grow a deeper relationship with God. This right here is from our girls who have endured trauma but have a lot of Jesus. Hey there, Healing Bestie. So the Trauma to Testimony podcast is still in a Selah season, a season of pause and stillness and rest and rejuvenation and getting to be more intimate with the Lord. But you know, your girl wasn't going to leave you empty. So we are hitting the holiday season. So throughout this holiday season, it is so imperative that you heal and you take care of yourself, especially as you're going around. Maybe some of us may be going to some triggering places, maybe some of our childhood homes, maybe facing some family members where there's some trauma, where there's maybe some pain, maybe facing a season of the year, a time of the year where it's hard and it's difficult. And my best encouragement to you is to get the help that you need. Seek the support in prayer to God. Go to God about your support in this season. Seek the support. There's so many online resources. You can definitely check out our website and go to our resource directory and our resource hall, which has free different resources for you to download and help you throughout this holiday season. And of course, there's going to be content that is on the podcast. Now, we are going to be taking it back to our 2022 Holiday Heal and Chill series episodes, and some of them are amazing interviews with some special ladies, and they are actually in the resource directory that will be able to help you navigate through this time. If this time of the year is hard for you, if the holidays just bring that feeling, just know that the Trauma to Testimony podcast has the content for you during this season. So of course, every Friday you can expect a full episode, and then we may put some bonus episodes in there from here to there. So just to help you build, just to help you be in this place where you can heal and really be working on your relationship with God, because you know what? We deserve to be at a place where we can properly start to overcome our trauma and really have a more intimate relationship with Jesus Christ. So that's the goal this holiday season. And I just want you to know that even though we're on pause, we are still a support system for you. All right, Healing Bestie, let me know how it's going during this holiday season. Email us, DM us on Instagram. Let us know so that we can best be of support to you this holiday season. All right, I hope you enjoy the episode. Welcome back to Trauma to Testimony podcast. It's your girl, your healing best friend, Tony. So this week is going to be maybe a heavy one, and you maybe need to take the weekend just to, really journal and meditate about this episode. So just wanted to throw that in there, but I really wanted to talk to you about leaving the place where your trauma happened. And no, I know that there isn't a physical place all the time, and there is a physical place, but we're not still living there. But When I say leave the place where your trauma happened, meaning that you need to do the work to get from that place spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. You need to be able to really pack up and leave. And I know one of the hardest things to do is to lose that identity, because that identity that comes with trauma, sometimes we continue to, love that person because who we became when the trauma happened was a person who defended us. Who we became when the trauma happened was a person who loved us. Who we became when the trauma happened was a person who was always going to protect us. Who we became when the trauma happened was this strong, or this really toxic, strong person who was not going to let anything else happen to us. And honestly, it's even studies that prove that our brain and our mind starts to really, believe that, even though it may not be true. So I want to encourage you to come out of that. Stop living there. You do not deserve to live somewhere that is in the past. You deserve to be in the present and to live the life that God has designed for you now. I know so many times we want to go back, we want to get apologies, we want people to say that they did wrong, we want people to admit to what they did, we want things to change, we want that incident that happened to us to have never happened. We want to feel better. We don't want to walk around with the heavy weight. We don't want to talk about the heavy things. We don't want to even deal with the heavy things. And trust me, I get that. But at the end of the day, I want you to know that the longer you stay there is the longer that you hurt, that you're in pain, that you're going to be walking around suppressing things, that you're going to be walking around in bondage, that you're going to feel like you're chained, you're going to feel heavy all the time, because there is something that needs to end where your trauma began. And the hardest thing is understanding that there are some things that you're going to have to let go, that's a part of your identity now, that was only formed because of your trauma. So leaving your trauma mentally, and I am in no way a therapist yet. I am in training, but this podcast does not serve as that as replacement for therapy, of course, but mentally, go get the help that you need. Whether it's going to talk to a therapist or getting you a life coach who may have, some expertise in that field, you're going to need some type of help when it comes to your mind. Maybe it is, reading affirmations and finding Bible verses to back it up, so that you know who you are in Christ, so that you know what your true identity is. Because when your mind is still living in trauma, you're going to always result to that trauma that happened. You're going to always result to whatever behaviors or whoever you became, and result to the trauma to protect you, to save you, to make you feel better. You're going to always get back to that. So you need to be able to say that, okay, this is a time where I have to get my mind right, that I can no longer suffer from that. I can no longer live there anymore. And in my mind, I can't reside there. I can't, because you will live in trauma so much that your present life, you will stop to be You'll stop being grateful for the things that's going on now. You won't notice your blessings. You won't notice how God is trying to change your life, and you won't be able to do the things that you're called to do because you're still living in a place of where the trauma happened. So in your mind, leave that there. So next is emotionally. Emotionally, you need to leave the trauma where it happened. Your emotions will have you all over the place. And this is another component of, if you need to go get help, professional help, go get it, because your emotions will lead you all over the place. Your trauma will start to come up in friendships, in relationships, and like romantic relationships. Your trauma will start to come up in the way that you love yourself. Your trauma will start to come up in your career, your job, and you will start to feel like, wow, I cannot control my emotions because trauma is heavy. And sometimes we need to really process through the trauma so that we can manage our emotions, so that we can be emotionally intelligent to understand when a trigger is a trigger and not somebody being funny acting towards us. Maybe, no, they said something, but I was triggered. And that's the honest conversation that we need to have with ourselves. Like, I was triggered. Yes, so get the help that you need. These emotions that you develop around your trauma can really hinder you from the life that God is calling you to right now. And it's okay to say that I'm not okay. I've been there. I've done it. It is okay, totally okay to say that I am not okay right now. And maybe I need to set up some boundaries so that I can get my emotions together. Maybe there's some friendships. Maybe there's some places. There is some, and there are some things that need to be cut off immediately so that I can deal with where I am emotionally. And that is okay, because God forbid that you're in the middle of life, living, things are going great, and then you have something, just a sporadic mental breakdown, or you just overwhelmed with emotions, and you don't know how to handle it, and you don't know how to get back to that place because the work was not done or the help was not sought out for. And it is okay to go get help, especially for my Black women. It is okay to go get help. It is okay to be vulnerable. It is okay to not be in a place where you're not the strong person. It's okay to not be the strong person in the relationship, whether you go get a therapist, whether you're seeking God on behalf of some things, whether you're talking to a mentor or a friend. It's okay not to be the strong friend or the strong person in that relationship. It's okay. You can be vulnerable. You can release the way that you need to release. What happened to you is so heavy that it really is okay to pour out. It's okay to release it. It's okay to be in that place where you need to let go. Hey there, Healing Bestie. All right, let's have a heart-to-heart. Have you ever had those moments in life where you feel like it's a struggle to believe you're truly free from your past? Where trusting in God's promises feels like a battle, especially in tough seasons and painful moments? Or maybe you find it challenging to maintain unwavering faith in God, even after experiencing salvation. If you're nodding with me, because you've had those moments too, know that you are not alone. As a trauma survivor and a woman who is overcoming her past and constantly on this healing journey, I certainly have my share of struggles. But here's the beautiful truth. Even in those moments, God's love is more than enough to pull us through. The day you embrace salvation, you are reconciled and brought back into a loving, redeeming relationship with God. You are free and you are redeemed. Let me be real with you. This devotional is a lifeline for those who are seeking healing, redemption, and renewal. I've walked this journey too, and let me tell you, it is nothing short of transformative. I've got something special for you today, Healing Bestie. The She Is Redeemed devotional. Inspired by the woman at the well, it is your lifeline to healing, redemption, and renewal. Inside, you'll find daily reflections, uplifting scriptures, and heartfelt stories to remind you that you are not alone. It is a warm hug from me saying, Healing Bestie, I see you and I understand. It's time to release your past pain and step boldly into the radiant woman you were created to be. Plus, when you order today, you'll get 2 exclusive bonuses because you deserve it. So head on over to traumatotestimony.org/shop and order your copy of the She Is Redeemed devotional right now. Let's walk this journey together, bestie, and discover healing, hope, and purpose in our Heavenly Father. You are redeemed. Find the link in the show notes to grab your copy. Don't wait. Your redemption journey awaits. Hey there, Healing Bestie. I wanted to pop in and share this amazing opportunity with you. The Get Out of Jail Sis Women's Conference. During this conference, you will discover the tools to rediscover yourself and find your purpose. In the Reclaiming Your Life space, jail is understood as a metaphor for the emotional spaces we enter during trauma. Your mindset holds the key to your liberation. I know, Healing Bestie, that you have felt the weight of unforgiveness, the sting of brokenness, and the suffocation of toxic relationships, all while trying to level up your faith and healing and dealing with your trauma. So this conference is going to be a game changer for you. Myself and the other speakers will be covering topics like personal development, self-care, changing your mindset, and healing from your past. You will leave this conference refreshed, rejuvenated, and ready to turn your trauma into triumph. Early bird general admission tickets are now available, and there's even an option for you to attend virtually. Break free and step into a life of purpose, joy, and abundance, and secure your spot today. The link to purchase a ticket will be in the show notes, and I cannot wait to see you in December at the Get Out of Jail Sis Conference. All right, Healing Bestie, go get your tickets. The final way is spiritually. Leaving that place spiritually is going to be so important, because a lot of what happened to us when the trauma happened comes into our relationship with God. And personally, what I have realized is that trust is a big factor. When we have been rejected, abandoned, abused, lied to, spoken down to, never encouraged, never felt a place of love, then we take those things into our relationship with God. And God can love on us, care for us, be there for us, show a good track record, and we still are not showing up to our relationship with God. We're still not believing in all the things that God says about us. We're still not understanding the weight the heaviness, again, the weight of what Jesus died for us to live. Yes, God already knew before the beginning of time that we would do some things that was like, okay, my child really needs to get it together. But God sent Jesus so that we can live again, so that we can be free. So we didn't have to live because we sinned. We didn't have to live by the things we sinned by. We didn't have to live by those things. And sometimes, and I always reference this, hurt people. And you think that God didn't know that? Ooh. And spiritually, if we take the time to really dissect our trauma with God and understand that, yes, we were hurt, deeply hurt, that God would give us the love, the joy, the peace to overcome these things. That, yeah, it would hurt pouring it out to God, but over time it would get so much better. So it's okay, again, to not be okay with God. You don't have to be this perfect person coming to God, because God's perfect. God loves us enough when we don't love ourselves. God cares for us enough when we don't care for ourselves. God was there protecting us when we couldn't even protect ourselves. You're still alive. You're still breathing. God has more purpose for you. You're still here. Your trauma could have took you out left and right. That's what you felt like. But God has more for you. God has more for you. And the second you realize that it's about a relationship and not about religion with God, you'll understand that all I need to do is do my part on my end of the relationship. When God tells me to do something, let me be obedient. When God is speaking to me, let me go ahead and start speaking back. Let me say, okay, God, I got you. Let me start telling God about the different things in my heart that I need to let go and lay at the cross. Like, I literally need to listen, I don't have time to hold on to this anymore, because if I keep holding on to it, I'm drifting further and further away from you, Lord. I can't do it anymore, because the weight of Jesus, whew, I'll never be the same. Because imagine all of the pain and trauma and hurt and the things that happened to you. Imagine all of that. And I remember just all of that weight and all of what Jesus felt. I remember the weeping and how Jesus felt, before the crucifixion. And it was just, even reading about it and then watching it on, oh man, I've lost my train of thought with the movie, but it's such a heavy thing. So I want you to know that heavy thing that you're holding on to, Jesus died for it. Because you're chosen. Already chosen. Been chosen. You are loved. That's why too. You are cared for. And yes, I know it's heavy that God allowed it. But God allowed it because there's some purpose in that pain. there's some things that God is going to use through you because that happened. But the longer you stay there and you continue to suffer your mind, your emotions, your body, your spirit, it's going to put you in a deeper pain. So I want to encourage you to really pack up and leave. And in packing up, that means that you're taking at least one thing that you can do mentally to pack up and leave where your trauma resides in your mind. One thing that you can do emotionally, where your emotions, where your trauma resides with your emotions. One thing. And then one thing when it comes to spiritually with your relationship with God. What is one thing that you can do to change the trajectory of how you're, maybe showing up in your relationship with God as a result of your trauma? Pack up and leave. Do not let what happened to you continue to hinder you from the life that God has for you. You deserve so much better. You are a child of God. And do not allow even you to keep you in bondage from something that happened in the past, and allow and really go on a journey in asking God to release you from those things that are holding you in bondage, so that you can show up and be all that you have been called to be in God. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode. I hope that it has impacted you in a very special way. Share this episode with a friend who may need inspiration in this area. Screenshot this week's episode and let us know what you think about this episode. And tag us on Instagram at Trauma to Testimony. If this did a tug on your heart, I want to invite you to stick around with us and join our email list and Healing Bestie support community. The links are down in the show notes. And until next time, let's heal, bestie. Let's heal together. Heal with you next week.